Go. Secure. One.
The doors are closing.
Hello YouTube! Today I'm gonna bring you guys a special video. Now, this video is way out of proportion, but this is for some major reasons. This stuff needs to get out to the people, whether it be non-furries and or furries. It needs to get out there, needs to be addressed, everything. It is about railroad safety 101. Out. Okay. Okay. Now it's up to ready. Okay. Okay. Now then, time to get into it, shall we? I will hit this light here. There we go. Now, when you're just driving along and suddenly your car breaks down on the tracks, like you see right here, not too far away from the crossing is usually a little box. Like this. Pretend this is the junction box that controls the crossing. One sec, yeah. When you break down, you exit your vehicle. You walk over to the junction box, like so. And this is you. There's a emergency contact number. You call that number. You report your situation to the dispatcher of the railroad, and they will try their hardest to stop all trains coming toward that crossing. Now, if you notice that a train is coming, you, instead of walking this way, because when that train comes in and hits your car full force, look at where it's coming. It's coming towards you. As you see here. There you are. Bam. That little bit of car right there can potentially kill you. Now if the car itself don't kill you, the shrapnel will. Now, to avoid that from happening, I'll switch that out with this. Now to avoid that from happening, you walk towards the train. Here or over here will keep you safe. Train comes in, hits the car, taking it with it. Trains cannot stop fast. Look at this. See that? Now, I will show you this. Look right where I'm going to push it. Well, normally that don't happen. See that? Look at how far that went. Goes from here. No traction. No traction whatsoever. See how there's no traction? Absolutely none whatsoever. Now, with this being on a curve, watch what happens. Depends on how it is. You'll usually get a few wheels off the track if it's a single engine. Take this car here, this right here. When it hits when the locomotive hits the car, the knuckles will pound into each other. Because why that is the car is trying to grip itself. By doing so, it'll start wobbling like this. Eventually, that wobble goes into a major wobble like this, where then it topples. It will literally topple. When the rail car topples, that locomotive topples the same way. that their cab is not strong enough to save the people inside of it. No. The people inside of that their cab will possibly lose their life. Think. Play it safe. Contact the dispatch immediately. Now, another thing that needs to be addressed is if you notice that there are cars on that said train coming right at you, this, watch, bam, you'd be crushed. Now if you notice, if there are cars on it, you are best going back further. The further you are away from the track upon collision, the better success of life you will have, just in case if it does topple. Being as far away from the train as possible, you will survive. When that happens, to make sure no one is hurt, you remain on the line with the dispatch, telling them exactly what happened. Then, when the dispatch asks you is somebody hurt, you run toward the cab of the locomotive. Since it's toppled, you go to the cab door, you open it up, make sure everyone is alive inside by crawling in through the cab door, going to them, and seeing if they're alright. At least there, you can save 2-3 lives right there. By getting them out, you can immediately report to the dispatcher via phone and tell them how many alive there are from that said incident, and so forth. Now, when it's along the side, you go to the tank immediately and make sure there's no fuel puddle. If there's a fuel puddle, you get the contents, the people inside, far away from the locomotive as possible, because the fuel is flammable. The heat of the locomotive, the heat of the motor inside, can cause that fuel puddle to ignite. When that happens, if the fuel is squirting out of the fuel tank, it will become explosive. Which potentially, boom. If you don't get the content of people inside the cab out of the train and far away from the train, the locomotive, you and those people will most likely be dead. Now, second thing, ATV and motorcycles. They can potentially get stuck on the tracks. It can, like, see how hard it is now? That can potentially happen. And then dispatch don't know you're there because your wheels are not on the rails and going past the signals. So they don't know you're there. If this does happen, contact the railroad emergency number immediately. Yeah, you will get a fine for doing so. But at least it's not your life. Because that's what can happen. It's not uncommon. It is very common that will happen. And by doing so, you damage not only the front of the locomotive, but you damage the knuckle. Potentially and fatally damage it. If it becomes fatally damaged, the components can break off and become shrapnel, which, like the Bouncing Betty, shrapnel can be potentially deadly. Ew. Of course, dead fly. Pardon me for a sec here. Where's my bottle? There it is. But shrapnel is no laughing matter. It is not a good ordeal. But yeah, Rail Safety 101. Oops. There goes the camera. Off for the helping hands. Which that's what exactly was you guys were on. Right there. That's my helping hands. Because the cam does not have a base. unfortunately. But now, I ask you all, please do not become the next railroad fatality. Because not only would it hurt me, but it would hurt the train crew as well. One thing that a railroader never forgets is a fatality that happened on their shift, which it always haunts them. And when it haunts them, they can't get it out of their head. When they can't do that, they usually resort to suicide. Not good at all, because I've lost some best friends that way. So please remember that. And remember these simple words. See tracks, think trains. As always, see you later.